Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. When a man is denied the right to live the life he believes in, he has no choice but to become an outlaw. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. A good head and good heart are always a formidable combination. But when you add to that a literate tongue or pen, then you have something very special. It always seems impossible until it's done. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin, or his background, or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. There is nothing like returning to a place that remains unchanged to find the ways in which you yourself have altered. Do not judge me by my successes, judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again. As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. I am not a saint, unless you think of a saint as a sinner who keeps on trying. There is no passion to be found playing small, in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. If you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. A leader is like a shepherd. He stays behind the flock, letting the most nimble go out ahead, whereupon the other. It is said that no one truly knows a nation until one has been inside its jails. A nation should not be judged by how it treats its highest citizens, but its lowest ones. May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. A nation should not be judged by how it treats its highest citizens, but its lowest ones. After climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is inspiring others to move beyond it. Live life as though nobody is watching, and express yourself as though everyone is listening. You will achieve more in this world through acts of mercy than you will through acts of retribution. One cannot be prepared for something while secretly believing it will not happen. Freedom is indivisible. The chains on any one of my people were the chains on all of them, the chains on all of my people were the chains on me. There can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children. Know your enemy, and learn about his favorite sport. It is not where you start but how high you aim that matters for success. There is no easy walk to freedom anywhere, and many of us will have to pass through the valley of the shadow of death again and again before we reach the mountaintop of our desires. I am not an optimist, but a great believer of hope. Sometimes it falls upon a generation to be great, you can be that generation. Without language, one cannot talk to people and understand them, one cannot share their hopes and aspirations, grasp their history, appreciate their poetry, or savor their songs. Let there be justice for all. Let there be peace for all. Let there be work, bread, water and salt for all. Let each know that for each the body, the mind and the soul have been freed to fulfill themselves. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. I am the master of my fate and the captain of my destiny. We must use time creatively, and forever realize that the time is always ripe to do right. The brave man is not the one who has no fears, he is the one who triumphs over his fears. I have never cared very much for personal prizes. A person does not become a freedom fighter in the hope of winning awards. We owe our children, the most vulnerable citizens in any society, a life free from violence and fear. Once a person is determined to help themselves, there is nothing that can stop them. A good head and a good heart are always a formidable combination. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. No single person can liberate a country. You can only liberate a country if you act as a collective. I could not imagine that the future I was walking toward could compare in any way to the past that I was leaving behind. I learned that to humiliate another person is to make him suffer an unnecessarily cruel fate. Even as a boy, I defeated my opponents without dishonoring them. Your victory has demonstrated that no person anywhere in the world should not dare to dream of wanting to change the world for a better place. For a revolution is not just a question of pulling a trigger, its purpose is to create a fair, just society. As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. If you want to make peace with your enemy, you have to work with your enemy. Then he becomes your partner. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Like the gardener, a leader must take responsibility for what he cultivates. He must mind his work, try to repel enemies, preserve what can be preserved, and eliminate what cannot succeed. Having resentment against someone is like drinking poison and thinking it will kill your enemy. Losing a sense of time is an easy way to lose one's grip and even one's sanity.